Okay. Let's find an exact line for Naphtali.
Thank you.
What are we up to? I'll figure that out. Okay, I think we are on Yud Zayin Amud Beis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines up from the bottom, 3 words from the end of the line. Meisvei. Got it? Good?
I got
Okay.
it. Yes, I'm good. Yes. Thank you.
I have to tell you, say Amaifis, Naphtali's son, Yehuda Shmuel, is on his way to greatness. Because after Friday night, I was giving a little shir after Friday night, and Rabbi Groner Shul giving a little shir on halacha, and we're talking about Chol Yisrael, and he pipes up. He says he quieted the whole shir, and he says, "My father gives me Cheerios with milk." He made sure everybody knew that his father gives him Cheerios with milk. So he was listening. The kids listening, which I thought.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Okay. So before we go back to, let's just how do you call it? Recharge the batteries on the sugya that we're talking about. So we have whether you're allowed to make a neder b'toich neder and a shvu b'toich shvu. So we said that a fellow could make a neder b'toich a neder, meaning if he says I'm making a neder, well, the Gemara, the Mishna uses for nazir. A guy says, if I eat this piece of bread, I'm going to be a nazir. And then he says it again, if I eat this piece of bread, I'm going to be a nazir. So then he has to keep 2 nizirus, 30 days and then 30 days. But if he makes a shvua on something and then he makes a shvua on something, then he does not. That you don't say shvua b'sayich shvua. Within nazir b'sayich nazir, there's a Machlokes between Rav Chisda and again, who was it? Rav Chisda and Shmuel, right? I'm sorry, not Rav Chisda, Rav Huna and Shmuel. So Rav Shmuel said, even if he says I'm a nazir today, and then a minute later he says I'm a nazir, then he has to keep 2 nizirus. And Rav Chisda says no. Rav Huna says no. Rav Huna says no. He has to say today I'm going to be a nazir, and then he has to say I'm going to be a nazir tomorrow. Since he added on a day, that means he's adding on another nizirus. But if he just says I'm a nazir today, and then an hour later or whatever, a little bit later he says I'm a nazir today, then he does not have to add on to his nizirus, and he only keeps 30 days. Again, so Rav Huna's shita is that he, in order for it to be a nazir, toich nazir, meaning to have to keep a double nizirus, that's if he says I'm a nazir today, and then he says I'm going to be a nazir tomorrow. All right, fine. So we're asking all these kashas on Rav Huna. So this is the first, second, third. This is the 4th kasha on Rav Huna. So Meisvei, 6 lines up, 7 lines up. Meisvei, Misha knows the shtei nazirus. So a guy made 2 nazirus. So what does he do? And then what happened is Manas Rishon, he counted the first nazirus, which is 30 days, the hifrish carbon, and then he was mafresh a carbon. So he did everything properly. He had his nazirus for 30 days, then he separated the carbon, and then he decided he didn't want to be a nazir for those first 30 days. The nishal Allah. So he went and he asked on it. That's a literal translation, meaning he went to be mater neder. I don't know why a guy would do something like this. But if you're going to be mater neder on the first day, not after you kept the 30 days. But he kept his 30 days properly, separated a carbon, and then he went to a Rav and said, I want to annul my first 30 days. And he does that. So then also Leishniya Barishonis. And then what happens is now he has his second nazirus, right? Because he was makabel 2 nazirus. So the second nazirus takes the place of the first nazirus, right? And he doesn't have to keep another 30 days. Again, initially he's supposed to keep 2 30-day nazirus. After keeping the first 30, he was mater neder. So we say that the second 30 really becomes the first 30, and he's done. That's the din, right? So Gemara asks, "Hey, Chidami, what's the case? If he said I'm a nazir today and then I'm a nazir tomorrow, am I also loishniya berishayna? Why does the second one take the place of the first nazirus? There's an extra day that he has to keep, right? Ella pshita. It's pasha. Amar harini nazir hayom, harini nazir hayom. It's pasha that he's saying I'm a nazir today, and I'm a nazir today, right? And that's a v'tiyufta on Amud Aleph. Now v'tiyufta the Ravuna. It's a kasha Ravuna, right? This is a fairly straightforward question. If he says he took upon himself 2 nizirus, right? And we're saying that if he, after keeping the first 30, he's mater neder, so then the second 30 takes the place of the first 30. Okay, that's wonderful. So it depends how he's makabel the nizirus. If he's makabel the nizirus today, so then we understand that the second 30 can replace the first 30. But if he said today I'm a nazir, and then he says tomorrow I'm a nazir, so how can you say replaces it? This the 31st day he has to keep, right?
He did the first 30 days. So what does that mean? The second one replaces the first. What does that mean? He's
Because
finished. That doesn't exist anymore. The first 30. He's not finished. So what does the second have to do with the first?
Because basically what it seems like the way the Gemara is understanding it is that when you keep 2 nazirus, they should happen at the same time. But it can't happen at the same time because one is blocking it. The first 30 days of the first nizirus is blocking the second 30. But now he got rid of it, right? Lemafreya, I don't know if lemafreya is the right word here, but lemafreya, he was a nazir. He was not a nazir for the first 30. Okay, so he was a nazir for the second 30. That's
How?
Yeah,
so forget he said it twice. The guy's a nazir for 30 days, and before he brings the karbanis, he goes when he's in the basement, he says to the kohen, he says, "Oh, you're a Talmid Chacham. I'm in Vatul my nizirus." So he says, "You just coming here with 3 behemoths." He says, "Yeah, but so he can't be Mavatul, and he was chayiv already in the 3 karbanis. He was a nazir for 30 days. Yeah, he can't be Mavatul.
I understand what you're saying.
I don't understand what the Gemara is saying. What does the second have to do with it? What do you mean lemafreya? He did 30 days of nizirus. It's not bottle. The guy is here down to his puppet, and he missed 19 levayas. But
he didn't bring the carbon yet.
So you're agreeing with me?
No, I'm not. But he didn't bring the carbon, so officially his nizirus didn't end.
Is that the pshat? What happens if he did bring a carbon? Then what would be the din?
Then he could be. Then it's totally over. How could he be? It's over. How could you be ochre something that you did already totally?
No, but I'm wondering if he didn't.
Then I agree. I don't understand it.
Right. I'm saying, but if he brought the carbon already, so then it comes out that the carbon, and then he was mater neder on that whole nizirus.
Who's
that carbon was
neder?
carbon.
It's over. Who's mater the neder? It's over. What are you mater? Something that's
You're
over?
saying because he brought the carbon. Well, why can't he be mater? And it ends up lemafreya. He was not a nazir. Oh, he brought a carbon.
Wait a second. So in Shemayim he has an X because he did a neder. He did his nizirus. It's over. It's over. What are you being ochre now? So he's Xing out the nizirus. He doesn't get credit for the nizirus anymore.
Yeah, I guess so.
He got a check mark in Shema. He got a check mark for being a nazir for 30 days. If he got a check mark, and now he's ochre, so Hashem erases the check.
By the way, David, maybe the other way around. We said it's bad to be a nazir. Maybe he
gets an X. So he gets an X, and now he's ochre the neder after he gave the korban. So Hashem erases the X.
Maybe that's how you have to learn it. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know either.
Yeah, but it seems like that's the way. Yeah, but I'm just wondering if he okay, I don't know what would happen if he brings the carbon. The point is that they're really both nazirus should be at the same time. The guy made himself a nazir twice. Really, the nazir should happen twice. 30, but you can't piggyback one gezerah on another, one nazirus on another nazirus, right? So since you can't piggyback it, the second nizirus takes place after the first nizirus. But now he just nixed his first nizirus. Good. So then the second nizirus could take place by the first nizirus. That's the way whether we understand it or that is the way. I mean, yeah, that's a pshat. But either way, yeah.
Why can't you just nix the second one as opposed to the first one?
No, because he nixed the first one. If he nixed, you're right. If he nixed the second one, then 100%. Then he wouldn't have to. Then he wouldn't have to keep it. But here he nixed the first one, right? If he nixed the second one, you're right. You're right.
Wouldn't it make sense? Wouldn't it make sense to get rid of the second one because you already did the first one?
If you want to nix the second
You
one,
can't.
That's
The whole
not what he did.
Masechta doesn't go by what makes sense. All the shyness and everything.
okay, that's true.
It's
but what would make
irrelevant.
sense?
That's not what he did. The Brisa gives the case. The case is V'nishal Aleha. He
No,
was
but he's saying
nishal on him.
semantics. He's saying it's semantics because
Correct. Not totally.
say it
He's
like that.
right. Guy was ochre. Why is he being wanted? Why does he want to ochre something that he did already?
Right. So knock
Why
off the
is he trying
second
to
one and keep the
demolish
first
something that
one.
he did already? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Meaning at the end of the day, it's the same 30 days he's keeping. So if you want to, he's saying you want to do a legal loophole, so just nix the second 30, keep the first 30 and finished.
Not according to the first answer of the Gemara.
Not going in my room.
Of the teretz.
Yeah,
Okay, but we say he's there going in the kasha. So anyway,
because that's what he was mashal. He was mashal the first one. Not the
you're saying
second
a
one.
kasha for the mice. Is that what you're
Kasha
saying?
on him? You're asking on him? Why did he think this way?
that's
not
not
a kasha.
Tully's teretz. You can't be asking any kasha to anybody in the Durham, right?
It has nothing to do with Nedarim. That's what he did. That's the Maisa. He was mashal the first nizirus.
Yeah. I hear. Either way, but the kasha is that if you hold like Rav Huna, and the only way to get a double nizirus is to say that the macher you're doing another nizirus. So then how can you say that the second 30 replaces the first 30? You have to keep at least one extra day. Elamai, it's talking about where he said, I'm taking the nizirus, and then he says it again. So you have to Rav Huna writes on the top of Amud Aleph now. Yud Ches Amud Aleph. So when it says, no, really, he did say, I'm a nazir today, and I'm a nazir tomorrow, right? The Bach sticks in the word nazir. And what does it mean that it works for him? Except for that extra day. Meaning, yes, he'll have to keep 1 day nazirus. The first 30 are gone, and then he'll have to keep 1 extra day. That's one teretz, which is a nice balabata teretz. It's very simple. You don't have to keep another 30 days. Just keep 1 extra day, and that's it. Inami or the second teretz.
Which now is a good reason why he would be mashal the first nizirus. Decided that I only keep 60 days. I have 1 more day. So let's be mashal the first one. Now there's a good reason for him to be mashal the first.
Right.
We have 12 minutes.
Okay, you're saying it's good. Okay. I hear. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first teretz, right? Inami. It's talking about where he was makabel both nazirus at the same time. Meaning, not that he said Hareini nazir hayom, but he said, I am being makabel 2 nazirus. The guy says, I'm doing a double header. Right? I'm going to do a double header nazirus. First 30, second 30. And then he's matter neder on the first 30. So then the second 30 can replace the first 30. Fine. So then that's that kasha. 5th kasha on Rav Huna. So Masar Rav Hamnuna. Nazir lahazir. The pasuk says a double lashon. Nazir lahazir. Right? Mikan. What do we learn out from this? Nazirus chalal nazirus. From there we learn that a nazir can become one nazirus can go on another nazirus, as we've been saying. Because if not for the pasuk sheyachal, I would have thought that maybe it would be a kavachomer, uma shvua chamura, a shvua that's stricter. Ein shvua chalal shvua, so one shvua is not chalal another shvua. Nizirus kala like kol shekain, so nizirus, which is more lenient than a shvua, isn't it a kavachomer? Right? So Tamil Loimar, Nazir Lahazir. That's what the pasuk is coming to tell you. Nazir Lahazir, Mikansha Nazirus, Chalal and Nazirus. So from here we learn that Nazirus can fall on Nazirus. Again, what the Gemara is saying is that you would have thought that if a Shavua, which is stricter,
while I try to locate the person you're calling.
Siak, I think you're muted.
Tiago, something happened, man.
Froze?
Yeah, we lost you. We had some
We
I
lost
didn't
you.
freeze. I
Something
saw you
happened.
moving your lips, but I didn't hear you.
We lost audio.
Yeah.
Somebody connect Bluetooth?
Not that I know of. We got so many devices flying over here. Who knows?
We're aware now.
Where am I up to? Okay, I'll just start again. So, Masar Rav Amnuna, nazir lahazir.
I love how it gets silent when you ask that question.
What is that?
Nobody ever wants to say where you were up to.
We're up to everybody's like,
No,
I know.
You gotta wonder. Okay, so Masar Rav Amnuna. What? Okay, so I'll just start it again. The kasha. Yeah. Okay, so nazir lahazir mikansha nizirus chalal nizirus. The pasuk's telling you that nizirus can chalal nizirus. Sheyachav alay dinu. You would have thought that it's a kavah chaymer to tell you that a nazir, one nizirus can't fall out on another nizirus. So mashvua chamura. A shvua that's chamur ain't shvua chalal shvua. A shvua is not chal on a shvua. Nizirus kala. A nizirus that's kal like kal shekay, meaning if shvua, which is strict, you can't have double shvuas. So nazir, which is not you shouldn't have it. So nazir lahazir. That's what the pasuk's telling you. Nazir lahazir. Mikansha nizirus chalal nizirus. That's when nizirus falls out on nizirus. What's the case? Which is what Rav Huna holds, that he said, I'm a nazir today, and I'm going to be a nazir tomorrow. You need a pasuk to tell you that the second nizirus is falling out on top of the first nizirus. That's pashut. He's adding on a day. So of course the second nizirus is going to happen after the first nizirus. Elolav, so it must be that he said, I'm a nazir today, I'm a nazir today. Vikatani nizirus chalal nizirus. And we learned that nizirus is chalal nizirus. So again, akasha and Rav Huna. Right? So again, it has to be that he's saying on that day, I'm making and being a nazir, I'm being a nazir. My answer is we're talking about where he was, again, like the first terror, the previous terror. It's talking about where he said, I am taking on myself two nizirus. So therefore, it's automatically going to be chal. So what's the lechumra of Shavua? I mean, why is Shavua more chomer than neder? Right, we said there's a kal v'chomer that Shavua is more chomer than neder. So what's the chumra? If you're going to say that a Shavua can be made on something that doesn't have mamish, like we said, you can make a Shavua that you're not going to sleep, that you're not going to walk, you're not going to talk. You can't make a neder on that. Neder, we said you have to make it on your eyelids and on your feet and on your lips. That would work, but you can't do it on the talking and on the sleeping. Neder nami chomer. Neder also has a chumra. Shekain chalal mitzvahs kirishus. A mitzvah kirishus. Neder has a chumra that you can make a neder on mitzvah, like we learned 2 days ago. You can make a neder on a mitzvah. You can't make a shvua on the mitzvah. So what's the chumra? And this is a pretty scary thing about a shvua. Shvua says in the pasuk, Hashem is not going to clean you from the shvua. What does this mean? That let's say somebody made a shvua, and he was over on the shvua, he made a mistake. He made a shvua that he's not going to eat something, which I pretty much can make this shvua every Shabbos, right? I'm not going to eat as much as I am going to. I don't make a shvua, Baruch Hashem. But let's say I did, and then I'm over on it. So then I bring the carbon and I do the whole tshuva, the whole deal. Still, Hashem will not cleanse you from it. You're going to have to get punished, right? So that's why I don't know why a shvua has that chumrah. I don't know, but a shvua you will not be cleansed if you mess up on a shvua. You can do the whole tshuva process. You're still gonna get some sort of punishment, right? So that's a pretty scary thing about shvua. So we got to make sure we watch our language, which again makes sense why Erev Rosh Hashanah we're being matan neder and why Erev Yom Kippur we're being matan neder, because these things are, even though it says you're getting punished anyways, Right. So so why am I being neder? You punish me anyway, so why bother? Right?
When a guy makes
Why
a
is
shvua, what does it
Paras
mean? He says like
Nedarim and Kol Nidrei? Why isn't it
A what?
Paras Shavua and Kol Shavua? Shvuye.
Right.
If that's more
So what are you saying?
serious, if it's more serious, we should leave with that, no?
Oh, you mean you say go with that first?
Yeah. We don't
Yeah,
do
but
a
I'm saying it
Paras
doesn't even work.
Shvuye. What?
I'm saying it doesn't even work because you're gonna get punished anyways.
Then why are we saying it?
That's exactly what the cynic in me is saying. Wait, don't say
That's
no.
what Psiakim
You're
just
punishing
asked
me
that. That's
anyway,
what he
so why am
is.
I bothering? I'm saying, why am I
That's why you
bothering
said we
for?
lead with. You said we lead with it because it's so.
No, I'm saying that's how.
important that we
Yeah,
should
right.
go
But
in.
that's how choshev it is.
We should go in with a clean slate. I thought that's what you were saying.
That's
you're
true.
saying
I
that
was
doesn't-
saying that. I was
Okay.
saying that.
But that
But you
doesn't.
got.
That doesn't work.
I was
He
saying
wants to
that,
know
but
why he's
with a
standing there. He
kasha.
can't sit in his seat. Why does he have to stand there by the Amud? He should be able to sit in his seat.
Yeah. Abrami, what are you saying without a shvua?
No, what does it mean? If a guy just says something, or like a guy says like, I swear I'm not going to do something. Like what does it mean? He makes a shvua. What's the exact lashon he has to say?
Whatever we haven't really done the shvuos yet, but whatever terminology you have to use for a shvua. But if he makes it properly, I am swearing by that this is also to me like this whatever the lashon is of a shvua. It has to be a proper shvua, not just I'm not going to eat. I'm not. What?
Right. Okay, fine. Yeah. Like you said that every Shabbos I'm not going to have whatever eat this amount next week.
No, that's not a shvua. That's not a shvua. No. That might be a neder, maybe.
So when my girls want to be taken seriously and they'd say, I'd swear or promise if I could.
Okay, that's right. That would be the right way. That would be the smart way of doing it, Jesse. Yes, that would be the smart way.
Or I affirm.
What? So then
what?
I affirm.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you saying? What's Avrami saying? Did I freeze again?
No, nothing. Good.
Okay. Weiter. So shvua shaloi oichel va'achal ein chayav alachas. Right. So what's the case? Shvua that I didn't eat, and then he eats. He's only chayav one. Meaning the shvua. When a guy makes two shvuas, and then he doesn't keep the shvua and he eats, so he should be chayav two korbanos. But we're saying no because shvua is not chal on a shvua. Samar Rava im nishal al harishayna. But let's say he asks back on the first one. Shniya chalalav. Then the second one he'll still have a shvua, right? Meaning, so now this gets back to what we were discussing before. How does it work when you make two nizirus? Is it really that there were two nizirus there, and just you have to push one off till the second 30 days because you can't have them both happen at the same time, or does it just not exist? Does it not exist in the first 30 days? So we say no, it still exists. You have to push it off to the second 30 days. Right? So, what about a shvua? When we're saying shvua is not chal on a shvua, right? Are we just saying that if you were over on the shvua, you only have to bring one carbon, or do we because there's only one, but really there's two shvuas, it just can't be chal, or are we saying that no, there's really two shvuas there? It's just we can't be mechayev you two karbanos, right? Meaning, what would be the nafkamina is if he makes two shvuas and then he gets a retraction on the first shvua, meaning he asks, he's mater neder on the first shvua. So now, does the second shvua automatically replace the first shvua, or do we say no? The second shvua didn't exist, right? So that's the Gemara. That's what the Gemara says. So Rava says, if you ask on the first one, then the second one will take its place. How do you know this? Why, if the Mishna wants to say that there's only one shvua there, then it should have said one shvua. If a guy makes two shvuas, it's only one shvua. It doesn't say that. It says it's not chal. So therefore, it says it's not chal. So therefore, it must be that it's it's what do you call it? It's still there. You just can't have two shavuos on another. So if you get rid of the first shavuo, you're going to have the second shavuo. Right. So again, it doesn't say there's only one shavuo. It says you're not chayav only one. Ravacha hu de lesle, an extra one is what you don't have. Ki mitchell al chaver to chayla. But if you ask and you do hataras nedarim on the first one, then it will be chal. Right. So again, all it's saying is that the shvuos are still there. It's just can't fall on another shvuah. So therefore, but if for some reason the first shvuah goes away, so then that's it. Lishnachrina, another lashon chiyuva hu deleka. Right. There is no chiyuv. Hashvua ika, but you do have a shvuah. Lamai hilchasa. What is the halacha for? Look at the Rava, Damar Rava, Nishal al-Rishana, also Leishniya Tachta. If somebody's mata neder on the first one, then the second one takes its place. And then the layman Messiah, let's say this is a proof. Mishna no nizirus, somebody who makes a neder of two nizirus, umanas rishayna, and he counts the first 30, v'hifrish carbon, and then he separates a carbon, v'nishal aleh, and then he is mata that neder, also Leishniya b'rishayna. So the second nizirus takes the place of the first nizirus. Right, so you see that when you don't have the second nizirus didn't happen yet, we said that it could take over the first one. So the same thing by Shavua. So the Gemara says that's not a raya. That's talking about we was mekabel them at the same exact time. So therefore, one can replace the other. Right, but that's not going to bring you any sort of raya to Shavuos, that the second Shavua can replace the first one. Okay, fine. On to Amud Beis now. Now we have a long Mishnah. At least for Nedarim size, it's a long Mishnah. And we get into also with the vague, when somebody makes vague statements, so we don't know exactly what the fellow means. So what's the din? So the Gemara Mishnah says, Stam Nedarim lahachmi. Anytime, and this is a rule that's going to come up many times, that in Nedarim, that a stam neder, we always go lahachne. Meaning, if guy says a neder, we have no idea which way he's going on it. So, meaning, does he mean to make a neder? Does he not mean to make a neder? So, stam neder, we always go lechumra. Upirusham lahaka. But if the guy says he makes a neder, and we're not sure which way he went with it, so then we ask him, what did you mean? And he explains himself, then we will believe his explanation. Meaning, even though we're saying a stama neder, we're going to be machmer. So you think, okay, he made a neder. We don't know which way it is. We go lechumra. So then even if he explains himself that he didn't really mean to make that neder, he meant it in another way, so maybe we shouldn't believe him. So we're saying, no, we do believe him. Right? So again, the two rules are, stam neder, if we don't know which way to interpret it, we go lechumra. But the Pirish, but if he says it, then we'll go lahakam. What are some examples? So the Mishnah goes through a bunch. Ketzad. Amar hareya like basar maliyach. Somebody says that this food is like salted meat to me. So what is so? Okay, let's see the other cases. He says it's like salted meat. Ki yayin nesech. It's like yayin nesech. Im b'shel shlomim. So if the shaila is, did he mean that salted meat is referring to karbanos like shlamim, and yayin nesach is referring to the yayin that's poured on the mizbeach, right? Or does he mean like stam meat, right? So again, amar areya like a basar meliach and kiyayin nesach. So im b'shel shlamim nadar. Shlamim is debatable whether you put that word in there, right? So if he, and some say you put in the word shamayim, not shlomim. Yeah. So im bishel shlomim or shamayim nadar. So then it's asa because he made a net. That's him. He made a net. That's asering him. Im bishel avodas kechavim nadar. But if he says that it's like an avodah zara, so then it's going to be mutter, right? Because people are makriv animals to avodah zara, and they also have they makriv yain. Now, why is it not a neder? So that we should know from last week's stuff that if you make a neder on something that's always usher, then that's not a neder. Neder can only be made on something that becomes mutter. That's something that's mutter, and somebody makes it usher, right? So if he meant to do it by a carbon, so a carbon was mutter and it became asur when you were makdish it. But avodah zarah does not become mutter. It was always asur. It doesn't become asur. It's always asur. Fine. Vim stam asur. Right. So if he didn't say anything, so then it's going to be asur. Again, he said this thing is going to be to me like salty meat or like yayin nesen. If he means it to be like karbanos, then it's going to be asur. If he means it to be like avodah zarah, then it's not going to be asur. That's case number one. Case number two, areya like a cherem. If he says it's going to be a cherem, right? So we said that there's two types of cherem. One cherem is that it becomes part of the Beis HaMikdash. And the other one is that no, he just he's not making the Beis HaMikdash. He's just saying that he's giving it as a present to the Kohanim, right? Again, one is asur. A present to the Kohanim doesn't become asur, right? So we don't know what he meant by that. If it's a cherem shel shemayim going to the Beis HaMikdash and it's asur. Im cherem shel Kohanim mutter. It's mutter because there was never any isser involved with using something that you gave a present to Kohanim, right? By the way, so if you meaning it's just like you're donating something to the Kohen benevolent association, right? The KBA or something, right? The Kohen's benevolent association, you donate something to it. So by the way, when you first give it to them, that's asur. And once they take possession of it, then they're allowed to share it with everybody else, right? So therefore, it's really something that's mutter. So we don't know what the guy meant. So the im sasam, if he doesn't say exactly which one he meant, so it's going to be also because we always go lechumra. Case number three, like kemaiser. If he says it's like maiser, im kemaiser behema nadar. If it's like a maiser behema, so then that's also all the way around. Im shel goyren mutter, but if it's meiser of a goyren, so then we hold that meiser of a goyren, meaning of grain, that's not hektish, it's not kadosh, so therefore it doesn't have kedusha, so then it's not a proper neder, so it's mutter. So the im sasam, and if he didn't say which one he meant, then we're going to assume that he meant that it's asur. Case number four, harei like a terumah. If he says it's like terumah, so im ketrumas halishka nadar asur. If he meant the Trumas Alishka, which is the Machzis shekel that everybody has to give, so that goes straight to the Beis HaMikdash, so therefore it's awesome. But if he meant Truma of the Goyren, of the silos, of the grain, then it's mutter, like we just said, because it's not hektish. Vim sasam, and if he didn't say clearly which one it is, then it's asur. Divrei Reb Meir. So there's four cases, and they're all the same. They're all basically the same type case. He can either say that it's hektish for the Beis HaMikdash, like hektish for the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore it's asur. Or he could say it's like, or it's not to the Beis HaMikdash, in which case it's not asur, it's not a neder. And if we don't know which one he meant, then we always go lechumra. That's Reb Meir. Reb Yehuda stam terumah. So it depends where in Eretz Yisrael you are. Stam terumah be Yehuda asura. In Yehuda, it's going to be asur. The gallil mutter, but in the gallil it's mutter. Why? Shein anshe gallil makirin as trumas alishka. The people from Gallil, which is this an interesting thing and hard to understand. The people from Gallil, even though they're in Eretz Yisrael, they didn't know exactly. Trumas alishka was not on their minds, right? Because they were living so far away, so they didn't understand this whole concept of giving to the Beis HaMikdash. So if a guy says truma in Yehuda, we're going to assume that he meant to the Beis HaMikdash because people in Yehuda were more familiar. But in Gallil, if they said truma, they must have meant grain. He must have meant grain, in which case it's not going to be truma. Stop meaning. So basically, Rabbi Yehuda is saying it's going to be based on society, I guess, and location, and you base it on what would a person think. Stam cherem of Yehuda, but and this is the other way. Cherem, which again we said there's two types of cherem. One to the Beis HaMikdash, and one to just as a present to the Kohanim. The Yehuda mutarin, in Yehuda they're mutar. The gallil asurin, but in gallil it's asur, meaning the opposite of what we just said. Shein anshe gallil makirin as cherem kahanim as a kahanim as cherem kahanim. The people from Gallil didn't live near the Beis HaMikdash, so they didn't know this concept of donating money to the Kohanim as personal money. So when a guy says cherem, he must have meant In gallil, he must have meant for sure that it's going to the Beis Hamikdash, so therefore it's also. In Yehuda, it could very well be, since they were constantly supporting the Kohanim, it could very well be that it meant that he's giving a present to the Kohanim, in which case it's not a proper thing. So again, so just to chazer over, the Mishnah basically is saying that a stam neder, and we're not sure what the guy meant, we're going to go lechumra, but if he clarifies himself, then we believe him. And then in the end of the Mishnah is a Machlokes or Rabbi Yehuda, whether we say this Safek of what the guy meant applies everywhere, or do we say it's going to be based on location, and that's when we can judge the thing. Like I was thinking with that shaila again, I keep bringing it up, but with the girl with the lottery ticket. So if you're basing it the way Rabbi Yehuda says it, so it's going to be based on location, etc., etc. So if she says if you win the lottery, so then maybe it's any type of lottery. But if it's when the guy went to buy a lottery ticket for $1 billion or $2 billion lottery, then we can assume that that person meant if you win the $2 billion lottery, not a scratch off, right? If it's stam during the year when there's no major lottery and the guy's going to buy a lottery ticket, say, if I win the lottery, I'll travel it down. So that could maybe mean anything, right? But not when there's a reason to believe that it's the other one. Okay, we'll stop over here. Everybody should have themselves a fine week and Basuras Taivas.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Good work. Make up dollar, Gershon.
Yeah.
Yeah, alrighty. Aaron, you missed a Zash Shabbos with a Marad Asra. He just logged off. Okay.
You by Groner for Shabbos?
Yeah, it was
Geschmack Shabbos?
It was a regular Shabbos.
Yeah.
Oh, he logged back.
Very nice last night.
As Aaron, I say you missed Azaz Shabbos over there.
I was getting harassed
They
all
put up
over the
lights
place.
and sirens and everything. What?
I'm getting harassed all over the place.
Me too. Trust me.
What lights and sirens?
I'm
What?
joking, Naftali. I'm joking.
What do you say?
I said
Which
I'm
Shabbos
also
you
getting
talking about?
harassed. It's a busha and a cherpa.
So I don't understand. Okay, it's not for now. Not the forum for now.
Stop the recording for a second.
I can't.
Parrots.
Why can't? Parrots.
Parrots is probably not on. He went to what do you call it?
He went away. We see his air conditioner.
Either way, Hashem is listening, so we got to behave ourselves. Yeah.
No, I want to ask you. Are you talking about where you were, or what's happening across the street?
No, I don't care about across the street. I'm talking about. I'm saying everybody hacking me them, the Rav and the Mardas of Garoners.
Whatever. Jackie, you should tell him something.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about exactly. Yeah. I don't care. It doesn't bother me be'etzim because with our ADD generation, everybody forgets about these things real fast. And it doesn't is it really worth making a tumult?
Didn't he do this a year ago?
Yeah, but now we're about to put out a letter to Yaakov. Hello. That's the problem.
So you put out the letter and let everybody know, yes, this is his main place.
I hear it. It's going to be confusing to people, but yeah.
No, so what?
Right.
We're learning the Nedarim anyway.
I feel bad.
It fits right in with the Masechta that we're learning. Nothing makes sense what people say.
Oh, shine, Naftali to the rescue.
That's it.
All right, we'll figure it out. We'll get the PR firm involved, Jack, and we'll spin it.
Yeah.
All right. But you're going there every other Shabbos?
When he's not there, that's all. When he's not there, I'm going to go. So I did this a couple times last year too.
You going to daven there also? Friday night, Shabbos day?
Well, so Friday night I decided because I'm gonna just the guys asked me to learn to give a shir right after davening, like we plan on doing in the winter.
Right.
So I'll do that. I don't care. I did it last night, so I gave a shir for 15 minutes.
All right, turn off the recording.
Hold on, 5 minutes.